News, everybody. This is Will Phototech directly to you through the power of the internet, and today I'm going to talk about what I feel about the Ubisoft E3 press conference. Is a too long? The press conference was 2 hours long. They filled it full of hashtags and a lot of Twitter integration. I'm not gonna include all the hashtags. I'm not gonna include all the Twitter integration stuff into the press conference. But let's just say that Ubisoft was fairly forward-looking in the media perspective, where Nintendo basically just slow dripped you through the entire 2 to 3 days of E3 plus. Uh, I got my handy dandy notes so I can stay on topic. And as I said before, there was like a whole bunch of hashtags. Every game had a hashtag. The event had a hashtag. There was actually 3 different hashtags for the event. It was also commemorating this year was the 30th year of Ubisoft being around, and when they made a big deal about that, I stopped, I thought, and I said, Nintendo has been around for 127 years, maybe 128 very soon. So Ubisoft 30 years, Nintendo 128. Who has the longer legacy? At the beginning, it was just a general game montage and intro. Not much else, just a bunch of games from the past few years in a quick sequence right through the whole front. And then they talked a little bit about the fact that Ubisoft is 30 years old, and etc., etc., etc. And as I said before, the integration and all this stuff in their whole event. Then they jumped into Just Dance 2017. This game is coming out for the PC, the Nintendo NX, the Wii U, the Wii, the PS4, the PS3, the Xbox One, the Xbox 360. There's also versions of it for mobile devices. It's on everything. And they had a long dance montage skit that came along with it. And then at the end of the dance montage skit, they paid a little tribute to the Orlando shooting. And I'll give you a moment of silence for the Orlando shooting right about now. And there we have it. The next game, I better watch which way I flip my hand. Next game was Ghost Recon Wildlands. Hashtag Ghost Recon. Oh, by the way, the hashtag for Just Dance 2017 is Just Dance 2017. This is back to Ghost Recon. It's for the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Windows PC. It is yet again one of those very obvious moments where this is gameplay footage, but it is super scripted gameplay footage. Like they hired a bunch of people to specifically act out their parts through the entire game to present it as actual an event, and it's clearly people who have experience playing the game, but were also given a script to read multiple times before recording it. So it's just not one of those things that comes off naturally. It is an interesting game as a whole, and by the way, it's coming out March 07, 2017, which is roughly around the time the Nintendo NX is coming out. So let's see if Ghost Recon Wildlands makes it to the NX. Then, as I said, it's a really interesting looking game. However, I'm not that big on FPS games, so I might at some point dabble in it, but I'm not going to go whole hog wild. It's just a really interesting game overall. And I don't know. I might actually get a Ghost Recon game, play it, and really love it. And I actually do have several Ghost Recon games and Tom Clancy games for my Xbox and my PS2 and my Xbox 360 and my PS3. It's just they came in bulk collections I bought at rummage sales, or off of people. Here's 50 games. I will give you $100 for it. Okay, super. I have boxes and boxes of video games. If I had a nice big place to put up a big beautiful wall, I could go toe to toe with NES Punk Pat, and Alpha Omega Sin for ridiculous number of games on a wall. Sassy. Uh, I'm gonna get a little assistance here. The next game I'm gonna talk about is South Park's Stick of Truth, Fractured But Whole, and this is Sassy Pants. Uh, she's a cute little beagle. You need to be calm. Calm. You are a ridiculous puppy. You are a ridiculous puppy. You need to be a good lapdog, not a ridiculous puppy. But Fractured But Whole, and I played a bit of South Park: The Stick of Truth, and I had to be sorry to say I played a part of it. But every part of me playing the South Park: Stick of Truth was amazing. It's one of those games that while you're playing it, it blends so immaculately and beautifully into the world of the TV show so profoundly. It's like it's one of those games that even if I was not playing it, I was sitting down and a family member was playing it or someone else, you could easily forget that it was a game and you're just not watching an episode of a really good episode of South Park. And it truly is so close to the show. And obviously, Matt and Trey worked on it with the team at Obsidian, I think, if I remember correctly. Moment, please. Yeah, I'm right. It is Obsidian. They're damn good. Obsidian actually consists of Yeah, they actually consist of ex Black Mountain co-workers, and they used to work with Black Mountain, not co-workers, employees, and they also used to work with Black Mountain and a few other teams. It was on various RPGs, but it's a this is a darn good game, and also if you pre-order digitally South Park Fractured But Whole, you get the Stick of Truth free if you pre-order it over for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, or on Steam. And considering how darn good this game is, if you have not played it and you enjoy South Park, which is just insane to say because if you enjoyed South Park, you inevitably would have came to this game. If you have not done that, this game is well worth the pre-order for Fractured But Whole. Okay, so if you pre-order Fractured But Whole and on the PS4, the Xbox One, or the or the Windows, not Windows, Steam PC. Yeah, it's Windows, but on Steam, it's my. I should just leave that alone now. It's just on Steam, on your PC or your Steam machine, if you went and burnt money buying a Steam machine. There's not very many good Steam machines. They're largely overpriced, underpowered boxes, far worse than consoles. Uh, I don't know why they went down that route. It's sort of a waste of time. But But anyways, it's an amazing game. It blends so beautifully into this show. It goes back and forth between cutscenes and actual gameplay very smoothly. It just it's well polished. And whatever little inconsistency, the little soft weak spots in it are not that big, and they blend away. It's just a wonderful game, and they are truly looking like they are working really hard on making Fractured But Whole even better than the Stick of Truth. So that is something really, really, really exciting and interesting to jump into. I suggest getting the Stick of Truth if you have like a PS3 or Xbox 360 or anything else, and if you happen to have a PS4 and you have rented or played the Stick of Truth at some point, but want to get back to it, you can go ahead and just pre-order Fractured But Whole and get the Stick of Truth free. But you have to do it digitally online. You have to go to the PlayStation Store, Store, Xbox One Store, or the Xbox Marketplace, and digitally pre-order the game. That's all I have to say. I'm personally a physical media person, so it does nothing to me to... The pre-order bonus is of zero value to me, but if they gave me a free new physical copy for for a PS4 or an Xbox One or PC, which is also another reason why I don't buy PC, is because it's all digital, I would most definitely go and pre-order it and get the Stick of Truth yet again. It's a game that's well worth it. The next game, the next one, which is an update, is the Division DLC. They already announced the Underground, but there's also another DLC pack set up called the Survival, and that's coming out in the future. I'm not going to get too much into it. Xbox One players and PC gamers will get it earlier than the PlayStation 4 gamers. Doesn't bother me because, well, it bothers me in principle just a little bit, but it doesn't affect me directly, and I'm not big into FPS games, and I'm not big into big party FPS games, unless it's Splatoon. I just love the crap out of Splatoon. Uh, as I said, there's the Underground that's coming, and then the Survival that's coming. And there was an actual date for the Underground, June 27th for Xbox One and PC, but I was writing it down and missed the PlayStation 4 release date. It should be like a month, about 30 days later than the Xbox One and the PC version. So there you go. The fourth game is Eagle Flight. It's for Oculus Rift. It was not stated for anything else, and they had Palmer Lucky play it with everyone else. That was fun enough as it is. And the doggy is chasing the kitties. Uh, and it looks like a really fun game. You need to leave the kitties alone. But anyways, it looks like a really fun game. It's a You basically fly around as eagles, you pick up rabbits, and then the other eagles basically on the other team basically try to chase you down and knock you out of the air and take the rabbit and go to the nest. It's just that simple, and it looks fun being as simple as it is. And a true gamer knows that the game doesn't have to have amazing graphics. It could just have beautiful gameplay, and you can be carried away into a wonderful experience. And every time a PC gamer starts ranting off about 4K this and 60 frames that, you know what, I would like 60 frames, but that helps with gameplay. But multiple monitors, and I'm like, dude, I enjoy playing games on my NES. I enjoy my PS3 games. I enjoy my Sega Genesis games. I enjoy all my vintage stuff. Rant, just the obsession with higher end graphics and higher specs on your system basically holds no power over me. And thank you very much for burning my time with your explanation of more pixels on screen, even though they have done multiple studies that indicate that most people are incapable of perceiving anything effectively above 1080p effective easily. So, yes, no, I'd rather have higher frame rate and better contrast than more pixels jammed in. And yes, you're going to say more pixels jammed in is higher contrast, but I'm talking about higher contrast as in color range versus tinier pixels. Sometimes I don't mind seeing my pixels. I love seeing pixels. So that was Eagle Flight, and that was for the Oculus Rift, and bam. Then the next part was about Star Trek Bridge Crew, and they had a whole section where various members from past Star Trek shows and a recent new one came on, played the game, and had a ton of fun with it. And I could easily see it being a solid sales point for VR. It's one of those types of games that really, really cements why VR is something. But still, you're gonna spend $300 plus dollars, 400, 500, 600, 700, $800 on VR equipment. And by the way, this Star Trek Bridge Crew is announced for Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and PSVR. They simply stated it as all major VR headsets, and there are a few more that are coming out that are not those three that I just listed, but they are the ones that are just not getting a whole lot of recognition. And I mean, they're not made by those three companies either. I mean, they're like Nvidia and stuff like that. So, or Razer. I think Razer has a VR headset that they are making too. I can't remember. It is some ridiculous series of numbers and letters. I I understand Leet to a good degree, but sometimes it goes overboard and it actually makes the concept that it's trying to convey more complex than actual plain English. So when it happens to do that, it's ridiculous and stupid. So I grew up gaming. I didn't grow up on the MMO side or PC side. I played on the console side, and you need to cut it out, dog. But that's just it. Now on to the next thing, which is number 6. I actually skipped. I didn't even pull up didn't even physically pull up a number for the 5th game, which was Star Trek Bridge Crew. But the 6th game in the list was For Honor, the hashtag For Honor. It looks really cool. It's a really interesting concept. I probably put it on my interested but not must play game list, or very interested but not must play. Uh, you know what? If I got all the games that I really want to play and I had just a bit more money left over, I would get it. It's really interesting. And that is February 14th of 2017. That game is coming out. It's basically Vikings versus classic. Uh, Vikings are Europeans, but classic European knights versus samurai warriors. So there you go. It would have been cool if they included Native Americans into the fray. That could be a good DLC add-on there, but let's move on to the next thing. Number 7, which is Grow Up, which is this cute little robot that is called Bird, and he wobbles away from mom, and he goes bouncing on mushrooms and goes as high as possible into the moon. And that is kind of like EA's thing with indie games. It's just there. It's kind of there to say, here's all our big AAA, big budget monster games with guns and glory and all kinds of stuff. And then there's our standard little indie title we just toss in here just as a fun little thing to add in something indie into our kind of art house indie type games. And Ubisoft has a bit more legitimacy in that area. There's a bit more, but a lot more legitimacy in that area than EA does. So there you go. It looks cute. It looks like a good fun diversion, but it's not something to toss a bunch of money at. It's like a $9.95 game. That's kind of what it sits at for me. Uh, and then the next thing, which is the 8th game, is Trials of the Blood Dragon, which is like a smash up of Trials Fusion or the Trials series games, which is basically like a 2D motocross BMX. No, not BMX, but motocross. BMX has no motors in it. Motocross kind of stunt game, and smashed up with Far Cry Blood Dragon, carrying the characters and personality. And I've played a little bit of Trials in the past, and I enjoyed it for what it was, but I have too many games at the time, and I just couldn't devote a terrible amount of time and energy into Trials, so I continued on from there. But it is a fairly nice. The art style is nice. There's a lot of personality thrown in. It looks like a really fun time if you have the time to put on it, and it is out currently. During this video, it is out. You can go to the store, download it. It's for PC, XBO, and PS4. And if you don't know what I mean by XBO, I mean XBO as an Xbox One. There. That's my fun little abbreviation for the Xbox One. Okay, and on to the movie. Assassin's Creed movie. They brought the producer out, or the director. They brought out, I do believe, the producer. And a producer is basically just the guy that basically manages the resources and promotions and holds everything together and brings stuff back and forth, where directors are people who work on sectors of the movie. But they brought out the producer to talk about the movie, and it basically did not really excite me. I played a little Assassin's Creed, but it's fun, but it's not amazing to me. And really, I'm more in the category of people who like their games finished before they are released. Nintendo has kind of spoiled me that way. They have. So I'm sorry, Ubisoft. On to the 9th game. Two fingers together, by the way. Thumb and pinky. Ninth game was Watch Dogs 2, which looks really interesting. It's out in November 2016, and graphics look nice. The hacking element seems to almost be just click buttony, so there's no like actual hacking. It's just like you send a program out and it latches onto something, takes it over, and you can do your own thing with it. Now I understood if it like there was an actual mini game between each one of those little hack sessions, it would slow down the pace of the game substantially. And for the guy being a hacker, he is quite proficient at guns and hand-to-hand combat. So I I naturally don't imagine most hackers being able to use martial arts and all forms of guns. I just don't. I don't know why. Not to mention there's the fact that the group called Dead Sect has clearly obvious we are hackers, punks, rappers kind of vibe to them, and it's sort of millennial. It's like I'm over advertising myself as a badass. I'm over advertising myself as a rebellious punk in the world of whatever it is, and it's so straight on. It's if you were walking down the street, you could pick the person out. That guy is a punk. That guy is most likely going to be problems. So there we go. And then they also then jumped into the next thing, uh, Watch Dogs movie, which was signed with Sony Pictures, and that doesn't really excite me either. I'm sorry to say that. It's just how it is, you know. I don't watch too many movies, and it's just one of those things, you know. I understand where they're going. They want to expand outward, and Nintendo wants to do the same thing. And I realize that on a good marketing level, that it will help the company as a whole. Same thing with Nintendo. Expanding out into other things will help the company as a whole. It's just not something that terribly excites me. Uh, then on to the 10th thing, the game Steep, which is basically in a extreme sports, a new era extreme sports game, all about content sharing and challenges and freedom and situational awareness. Uh, it looks fairly fun. I might be interested in it. It's a interested category game. I'm just like, you know what? That is interesting. It might be fun. It'll be fun to play, but I don't feel at this point that I'm quite ready to like go out and hunt it down and buy it. It's just one of those things, you know. If I'm in the store and I see it's marked down $10 from $59.95 to $49.95, and I have extra money in my pocket, and I pretty much played everything I wanted to play, or got everything, which is more accurate to say, got everything that I want, uh, then I would consider getting Steep. It looks like a good game. It has a lot of connectivity features with other players. It's clearly one of those games that gains value by having other people in your network on the system. But it also is in that category of game where you could quite feasibly don't care about connecting with other people, and it would still be a good game. You could still enjoy Steep on your own. I do not know about that with Rare's Sea of Thieves and a few other games. And obviously not Tom Clancy's The Division. That is clearly all up built for just multiplayer, and I believe it's all multiplayer. So I haven't played Division. I'm happy that my internet is good enough to play Splatoon and Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart and all that fun stuff online. There we go. So this is the end of the Ubisoft E3 conference talkover. It was a 2-hour video, 2-hour conference, and I turned it into a 30-minute video. In the case of the Microsoft video, that was probably one of my longer ones. That was a 2-hour conference, which turned into 1 hour and 10 minutes of video for me. So, you can almost sense the density of the video. This is one of the things I'm thinking about here. The density of the conference for information in the conversion. I pretty much talk about each conference in the same fashion, point A to point Z, and I may talk more about some stuff that interests me, or less about stuff that does not interest me. But it generally is probably just a straight conversion. I at least announce every little announcement, and give you whatever system release date information if it was quickly given and clearly given. And by the way, the Assassin's Creed movie is stated to be December 21st, 2016. Just in case I missed stating that. And Steep is said to be out in December. Okay? But, that's how it is. So, there. It is very clear that so far that the EA, the Bethesda, the EA, and most definitely the Ubisoft video conferences were all long stretch montages, very few announcements, but all stretched out long, where Microsoft was chugging along at a pretty good pace and had many announcements. And at the end of all the E3 announcement videos or the conference videos I'm going to be making, I'm going to do a video basically breaking down who won, who lost, and the general structural vibe. And I might have to adjust everything in consideration that Nintendo did something completely different than everyone else. But yet again, Nintendo went with the long format that showcase each game in long, but mostly focus on New Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to rate or vote, comment below, share, and if you want to help support my channel, subscribe. Please check out any of my past videos. I'm going to at least try to keep producing as many videos as possible and keep them as relevant as possible to the situation. But also I'm going to be throwing in some little fun stuff here and there. And if you are curious about sort of the pattern of uploads and releases on my videos, during the summer I am really busy with work and other things, and it's also really hot. And same thing with the fall. I'm really busy. I'm really busy during the summer. I'm really busy during this fall. But in the winter and spring, I have a ton of spare time. So if you were just watching my videos and you basically were enjoying I was a day ahead of everyone else on news, that pretty much will return winter and spring. And in the summer and fall, I'll fall slightly behind. So it's kind of a trade-off. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day.